The new Carhartt Gore Tex Super Dux jacket is in a tie for the most expensive Carhartt jacket ever. It's not insulated, it weighs almost nothing, so is this jacket just a complete ripoff? Welcome, I'm Carl Murawski, and this is the channel that helps you own less and own better. In July of 2019, I was working alongside the railroad, and what we were doing was some exploratory digging because we didn't know what was buried underneath our feet. We were gonna run about 40 miles worth of trough and plowed-in cable. We needed to know what we might be hitting. So we were going along, digging holes every 25 feet, trying to expose any kind of wires that might have been buried there. It was hot, it was humid, and it was one of those days where it looked like it could rain at any minute. So I'm working alongside this guy named Martin, one of the hardest workers I've ever known, and the sky opens up, it just starts downpouring. We all run and we grab our rain gear, we put it on, we get back in the hole, we keep digging. And after a little while, we were wetter inside the rain gear than we were if we would just never put it on, It was so hot, you were sweating, and that rain gear is just PVC. It's like wearing a trash bag. So it just stuck to you, and so you were wet. Finally, Martin gets up. One of the hardest workers I ever met, as I said, he almost never quits, but he throws down his shovel, he rips off his rain gear, he throws it aside with some colorful language, and more or less said, "I'm wetter inside of this thing than I would be if I was just out in the rain." One by one, the rest of the crew kind of followed suit as they discovered the same thing happening, and everybody was just working, getting poured on, because the rain gear didn't really do much. Sure, it kept the rain out, but you were trapped, marinating in your own sweat. After that instance, I knew I had to get some Gore-Tex.
Gore-Tex was brought onto the scene in 1978, and it's essentially a membrane made from expanded polytetrafluoroethylene. This membrane is microporous with over 9 million pores per square inch. Pores that are 20,000 times smaller than water droplets. Basically, it sheds water while allowing your own perspiration to pass through. A common misconception is that Gore-Tex is a fabric. Instead, it's a membrane which is layered between a shell material and a lining. The membrane is sometimes bonded to the shell in what they call a 2-layer construction, or bonded to the shell and the liner in what they call 3-layer construction. Gore-Tex is also notoriously expensive, but since its invention, Gore-Tex has developed several lines and grades of the material for various applications in footwear and in clothing. The top-of-the-line stuff will still add a significant cost to an otherwise simple garment, and that's exactly what we have here with the Carhartt Super Dux jacket. Now, Carhartt did loan me 2 sizes of this jacket for demonstration purposes, but they don't get any editorial input, and they don't get to see this video before it goes live. That being said, I wouldn't waste your time with some junk product, so let's get into the construction. The jacket is made from 3.7-ounce polyester with Gore-Tex and is treated with a DWR finish for extra rain repellency. The seams are fully taped, and there are small 3M Scotch-Lite retro-reflective details throughout. There are waterproof zippers beneath the arms when you gotta dump some heat or get some extra ventilation when needed. The sleeve cuffs are elasticized with a Velcro closure, and there is an elastic drawstring at the hem. Now, just a word about rain gear in general. Carhartt does a lot of things right, but their naming scheme is confusing at best. Traditional fit, relaxed fit, rain defender, storm defender, none of which are very descriptive. So, if you want to break down the rain gear, it comes down to 3 tiers. Rain Defender is basically a DWR coating applied to some of their outerwear. This is good for light rain or sporadic exposure to water. Storm Defender is when the forecast calls for rain and you gotta be out in it. These garments are good for all but the wettest conditions. The top of the heap comes in several forms, including this Carhartt jacket that we're reviewing today. This is the brick house that you want to be in when it feels like nature has a personal vendetta against you. You may notice that this jacket is listed as full swing, which is basically Carhartt speak for their products which move and stretch, usually via gusseting. One of the downfalls of Gore-Tex is that it won't stretch at all. Carhartt used a material called GoreTex Blue Fin in areas where a little bit of stretch was needed. This allows the jacket to flex with you and remain water resistant at the same time. A very interesting solution. The hood has a few tricks of its own with a moldable wire brim and drawstring adjustment. The brim makes a huge difference in keeping the rain off your face, and the fact that you can shape it to your liking makes it even better. There are 4 pockets in total. 2 hand warmer pockets with storm flaps and zip closures, a shoulder pocket, and a vertical chest pocket tucked away beneath the storm flap. The first time I saw a chest pocket like this was on the Tom Beckby Tensaw jacket, and I think it's a brilliantly simple solution to a waterproof pocket. Since there aren't any interior pockets, this gives you a little spot to stow away your phone or your wallet in a place that's safe from the elements. The shoulder pocket is something that people either love or completely forget about, and I must admit that I'm in the latter category. However, there have been times where I've kept my ID badge in the shoulder pocket, and all in all, if you like this feature, it's there. If not, then it's hardly noticeable. The hand warmer pockets are designed with water resistance prioritized over comfort. It takes a moment to find the pocket opening, but their design basically eliminates the possibility of water getting inside. If you do get water inside any of the pockets, there are weep holes which prevent them from filling up with water. On top of the shoulder pocket is a small Velcro patch left over from their testing with Team Rubicon. This is a great place to add a little bit of personalization if you want. You can buy different patches of all kinds and just swap them out. The method of covering the main zipper is with a very cool gutter system via the storm flap. Close this over the main zipper and water is channeled down and away from your body. It works like a charm, and the fact is that not even the best weather-sealed zippers are truly waterproof. In fact, throughout the jacket you'll find weep holes, gutters, and other trick methods of keeping water from pooling or getting into the jacket. Finally, let's take a look at the cuffs. They have both an elastic and Velcro closure, so this means that you can leave them relatively open during normal use with a little expansion thanks to the elastic, or you can cinch them down when the going gets soggy or when you're working above your head. I prefer this to the single Velcro strap which needs constant adjustment. Since the whole jacket is so lightweight, it can be easily rolled up and stored in its left pocket. Toss it in your truck or put it into a backpack and you're prepared for any inconvenient rainstorm. Now, Carhartt loaned me a medium and a large in order to show the differences in fit. Now, I'm about 5'8", 185 pounds, and the medium fits me really well with just a t-shirt beneath, as I'd likely be wearing in the warm months. The large is a bit too big unless you plan on layering beneath it. This is a shell, and it works equally well when layered on top of a base layer and an insulating layer, so depending on your climate and your usage, you may want to consider leaving a little bit of space for layering. It wasn't long ago that I used to buy some of my items at REI or EMS to wear in conjunction with my workwear. Oboz hiking boots for large-scale jobs with a lot of walking, fleece for layering, and Gore-Tex rain shells in place of company rain gear. In fact, this is my old shell from Arcteryx. It's a model called the Alpha SV, and it'll set you back about $800. As you'd expect, the whole thing is top-notch, as it should be for the price. But that price tag made me not want to wear it at work, and I was extremely careful when I did. $800 is far too much for a job site raincoat, but when I did use it, it was actually pretty flawless. The Carhartt Super Dux shell reminds me a lot of this jacket with a few differences. It has the same feel, but with a bit more stretch thanks to the bluefin panels, and the same space-age hydrophobic qualities. But the most important thing is that it costs nearly a third of the Arcteryx, making putting it to work much easier. I won't be happy about tearing a $300 jacket, but it won't make me cry the way tearing an $800 jacket would. True workwear must prioritize function over fashion and be priced for the working people. That's where brands like Carhartt do things right. Though this is one of their most expensive jackets, it's not even close to brands like Arcteryx where you have to be an imbecile to wear one to work. Wait a minute.
So, do you need a $300 jacket to keep dry? No, absolutely not. And if your company is like mine, then they issue you rain gear. That rain gear is typically the cheapest stuff that they can find, and it will work, but if it's in the heat, or if it's in a condition where you have to really move, you're out of luck, and it's almost like you're better off just leaving them behind, as I described earlier. You know, I think something like this would really be bought and used in personal use along with on the job. You know, I would really cry if I ripped a, $800 Gore-Tex jacket, but $300, I'll put that to work, especially if it works well and you're using it not every single day, but in a case where it's warm out or it's raining or you're working in wet conditions. I think that's where this really shines. And when it comes to Gore-Tex, there's really not anything else out there in this price range to compete with it. There are other brands that are alternatives to Gore-Tex. How much better they are, I just don't know. And if you'd like to see more videos on workwear in general, I've made you a whole playlist right here. You can go ahead and check that out. I have everything from comparisons with Dickies and Duluth Trading Company and Patagonia Workwear, Roundhouse, all kinds of different workwear companies that I've personally used and worked in the field in. If If you'd like to check that out, I'd appreciate it. Anyway, guys, until next time, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you later.